we talked about the Vikings. I want to talk about their defense. Last time the Niners faced the Vikings, they got smacked. Now, Deebo Samuel didn't play. Trent Williams didn't play, but the Niners scored 17 points. And Christian McCaffrey did play in that game. Played the whole game, was healthy, 15 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. So this is a defense that's statistically pretty good against the run. They just shut down whoever the hell the Giants running back is last week.
Probably.
Yeah, said that guy. So not exact. Well, maybe he is. Maybe he isn't better than Jordan Mason. I don't know. I think Jordan Mason might be a Hall of Famer, but it's a little early.
It's never too early. No.
We know that Brian Flores is a pretty good defensive coordinator, and he's unique in the sense that he brings more pressure than anyone else. And he did a really good job against this defense, this offense last year. Do you think this is a tough matchup for the 49ers?
I do. I do think it's a tough matchup for the 49ers. I don't think it's one that they can't overcome by any means. And seeing it last year is helpful. I think it's very helpful. But really, I want to look at Dominic Puni. We talked about him earlier. He played against Solomon Thomas a ton last week. That's where he did his best work. Not that he was bad against anybody else, but every week is something new. He's going to see, this is the great thing about rookies. They're going to have ups and downs. Every week is something new for him. And this week is going to be something very new for him. You've got, I think, an overall better defensive line in Minnesota. You're going to get a ton of simulated pressures. They move people around a ton. They'll show 8, like we're going all out blitz, and then they'll back people off. It's just a bunch of movement pre-snap. They are an interesting defense. And last year, with really a bunch of no-names and Danielle Hunter, they way over-indexed where they should have been. Now they've actually added a couple guys. They added who's
Jonathan Greenard, Andrew Van Ginkel.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now they've got 2 pass rushers, Stephon Gilmore. So and a young defense that had already been there, and they're just ascending together. So yeah, I do. I think that they can pose some interesting threats. So Puni, I'm looking at in particular. If Burford has to play left guard, I would look at that. Obviously, we know McKivitz and Brindell can be a little off. And then Mason, a short week. Everybody now knows you're really, really good. Okay. There's no surprising anybody. What does it look like for him? Can he doesn't have to do what he did last week, but can he come out and get 22 carries and approach 100 yards again? Those are things that I'll be looking for. And, I think anytime a defense doesn't give you a lot of time to throw the ball, sometimes it can turn into some really big plays and you can route teams, but sometimes you're under duress all night and you just can't get on the same page. So yeah, I think they are a tougher matchup, oddly enough, even though the players aren't as good, because schematically they're just so sound over there.
Yeah. Yeah. You could say that, or you could say that they take a lot of risks. And to me, like, a lot of defenses want to be sound in the sense that they want to like rush 4, drop 7 into coverage, not take any risks, be kind of conservative. I think that kind of plays into the Niners' hands on offense. If you can stop the run, first of all, if you can stop the run, you're a tough matchup for the Niners offense because everything is based on running the ball and play action off of that. If you can take those elements away and force them into a drop back passing game, then you got the Super Bowl. That's not exactly where they want to be. And then if you can make them one-dimensional, which very few defenses can actually do to the 49ers, but if you can make them one-dimensional and then bring pressure, we've seen that Jake Brendel struggles to set the protections. I mean, they've talked about it. Chris Forrester talked about it. They have a lot of missed assignments. It's not necessarily his fault, in my opinion, although maybe they would disagree. It just seems like the center is at a disadvantage. He just doesn't have a good view. His eyes are like 1.5 feet off the ground, and he's trying to spot where all the potential blitzers are coming from. It's a weakness of the system, and I think that the Vikings are kind of in position to exploit it. I'm not saying they will, but they're sort of built to do it, and they did it last year. Well, they sacked Daniel Jones 5 times last week. Sorry, just remember that.
Yeah, well, that's But I also look at Ayuk not being in full game shape either. So he's your separator. So when you bring everybody up to the line of scrimmage, if you have a guy that can just beat somebody on the outside one-on-one, you can really take advantage of it. But if Ayuk can't beat that guy because he's not in as great a shape as normal. Now it's really hard to find those passing lanes, and it's hard to find running lanes because you're sitting with 9 in the box, just chilling there, showing you all these blitzes. Maybe they're coming, maybe they're not, but they're there. And so if it becomes hard to run, and then your receivers on the outside can't separate, well, then everything gets really, really tough. That being said, I'm not like predicting that they're just going to shut the 49ers down. But in comparison to last week, I think they are a tougher matchup. They're definitely not the toughest matchup they could face. Here's one caveat for them, and we're going to talk about him in a minute. But Sam Darnold could throw 3 picks. And if he does, and you get short fields, it doesn't matter what the defense is doing, you're going to put up points. So, there is that too.
Again, I'm looking at last year. This was week 7. The Niners went to Minnesota and lost. And again, Trent Williams wasn't there. Obviously, Dominic Pooney wasn't there. So when Christian McCaffrey got utterly shut down on the ground, there's reasons for that. And this year, he won't be out there most likely. We don't know. Probably be Jordan Mason. And they're definitely going to have Pooney and Trent Williams. So he should be able to have, I don't know if he's going to go for 100 yards, but I'm not saying he won't. He should be able to have a pretty good game. Question is, though, what are they going to do through the air? No Christian. In the last game, he played pretty well against the Vikings as a receiver. He had 3 catches for 51 yards, including a 35-yarder touchdown. Ayuk had 6 targets, 5 catches, 57 yards. Okay. Jennings had 5 catches, 54 yards. Okay, not bad. I mean, just kind of possession catches. And then Kittle had a big game, 5 catches, 78 yards. So I don't know. It seems like Debo's coming back. That should help. But I don't really know what Ayuk's going to give you against this team.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as if the guys get open, we know Purdy will find them. But can they get open? That's what I'm questioning. If they can get open, Purdy's going to have a fine day. But if they can't, what do you do?
He did throw 2 picks against the Vikings last year. I believe it was both in the fourth quarter, and I believe he got dinged a little bit on a quarterback sneak, but he threw 2 picks against his team. He almost threw one last week. Something to watch with Purdy. Like, he does a very good job of managing the game, and he makes good decisions 95% of the time, but there's a part of him that wants to show that he's more than that he's not just a game manager, that he's a gunslinger, that he's worth 60, blah, 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 and he will make some bad decisions once in a while. Defense that forces the issue. That was what I was so disappointed in the freaking Jets for so many reasons. Like, I wanted to be a quality control guy for them. I was like, what happened to the Robert Saleh I used to know? Like, when he was with the Niners, I thought his pressure schemes were brilliant. When you study him on film on third down, I thought the things that he was doing, the way he could dictate the center to slide a certain way and then bring the pressure from the other direction and almost guarantee that you're going to get unblocked guys. Where the hell was that? What happened? I feel like Flores can do that stuff.
Oh, Flores will do that stuff. He'll do all of it. I mean, that's where one of the picks came last year is he had blitzed and blitzed and blitzed. And for 7 weeks, that's all he showed. And then on one of those I think it was the final pass that Purdy threw, I think it was the second interception, he showed blitz and just dropped everybody back. And there was nowhere for him to go with the ball. And he just threw it up and right over the middle and got picked. So, yeah, I mean, they definitely can confuse a lot of quarterbacks. But like I said, I think the advantage is that Brock saw him last year.